calling you a radical. So my family used to own this property right here. Now think about it. I'm not that fucking old. And when I was a kid, this was all houses. So why would they fucking remove all the houses for a vacant fucking lot? And then, of course, the first Grand Central was here, which involved a Sam's Club. Yeah, for real. The Sam's Club. Go look it up. So, So, I was just in the Home Depot. My family used to own this property. I remember hoeing tomatoes in here and throwing bales of hay in here and telling my grandma when I was a little boy right there by those trees, I says, gotta get a vibe in here, man. I mean, she says, you know what that is right there on the mound? I said, no. She says, that's an ancient cemetery, a burial ground. There's a marker up there. There's a Mormon church on top of it. What? Yeah, so my uncle's house was right there. They took them, they moved them out to West Weber. Of course, now they just tear them down, throw them down to build Grand Central. And then it set that Fred Meyer's building forever, which was a fortress. That building was a fortress. I mean, a fortress. And now look at it. They tore that down how many years ago? It was vacant for how many years? So let's paint us a sign. Everywhere a sign. So we had an earthquake. In Alaska. So let's move this in here a little. I guess people seem to drive through. Some kid just almost drove right over my sign. And they can't see the dead trees through the forest. So I thought, well, I'll just stop in here at Home Depot. It's 100 degrees. Got this at the free library yesterday. So TikTok, Diablo Canyon clock, right? Just a 7.3 earthquake in Alaska, that's all. Nothing to worry about. What do you think when we get an 8? Then don't want to live like a Chernobyl refugee. Don't live like a Fukushima, Japan refugee. Don't want to, it's just all coincidence and everything. Then, since the Fukushima meltdowns, don't want to live to like Los Angeles, California, nuclear reactor, Diablo Canyon. Let's see. Nuclear reactor on the Ring of Fire. Nothing to see. We're so overdue for a major earthquake in California. Way overdue. Remember the big one in Alaska was 61, 62? You killed people at Dana Point. Tsunami, TikTok, Diablo Canyon clock. So we didn't learn anything from Fukushima, did we? Yeah, they'll drive right through here. I didn't realize that. Watch this. You're gonna park it. Pseudo de facto freeway zone. So let's paint our sign. God, we're probably gonna get fucking hit. I have to move. I didn't realize people drive through here like fuck. So I went into Home Depot. It's right there. What do you got on the throwaway line? $9 for that gallon of that beautiful light blue. I'll make some freaking. And I asked this woman over there, "You got a piece of car?" "Oh yeah, I got one right here." So I tucked my hair up under my hat and I went in to ask him why. Said, "You make a fine, understanding young man. I think you'll do." So I took off my hat. Said, "Imagine that." Put up the fence. TikTok, Diablo Canyon clock. It isn't a matter of if, it's when. That thing's going to go. There's 40 years of spent fuel stored on site. Let's get the other side done. There's two sides to this. So I got out a pen and a paper and I made up my own fucking sign. Here we go. I'm in the freeway zone. I didn't realize it. So let's make up the other side. Is it even going? I don't think so. Maybe it is. So it's 100 degrees right now. It's still going. It's 100 degrees right now. Well over 100. Well over 100. I didn't realize. This is pseudo de facto freak show right here. If you haven't noticed, 200 years since the fur robbers got here, that's why it's called Wasatch to hide. When the Shoshone, that's the ancient Shoshone burial ground right there. Little soldier, Chief Cherokee was murdered right up there. They lived here for at least 18,000 years in harmony with their culture. 200 years to this. If you haven't noticed, America, the old USA culture is a fucking shit show from hell. This great American experiment, you looked around lately? You looked around at this fucking freak show? I mean, slaughter the I mean, it's a fucking cultural fucking wasteland. It's a freak show. Look around. Open your eyes. Fuck. It's pathetic. Just in my lifetime to watch this thing dissolve. I mean, manifest destiny on chemo, on Balco. It's disturbing. TikTok, Diablo Canyon clock. Lessons from Fukushima. Lessons unlearned from Fukushima. You didn't learn, teach you nothing. 40 years of spent fuel on site in the repository, Harry Reid. Remember him? He used to fight about it. You can't just stroke the NRC. You don't have legislative, judicial, executive power. Only Congress is. So he went to Congress, and he got it through, and he made every one of these nuclear reactors an official nuclear waste dump site. There's 40 years of spent fuel on site there, in swimming pools. Oh, they move it out of the swimming pool into dry cask containers. Yeah, that process, there's always a heavy amount of spent fuel just sitting in the swimming pools that's trying to cool. There's a 3 to 4 year cycle it has to cool before it even go to dry cask container. And their dry cask containers aren't on shock absorbers above ground. It's 40 years, it's a ticking time bomb, literally. So 7.3 earthquake. I'll work on it. That's some good looking paint. Hold down, I can have a heyday with that. Anyway, it's good enough. You do what it says. Lessons unlearned. McKell lessons. Hit that fucking car. For a reaction, there's a reaction. That's basic fundamental science. Just 3 core meltdowns, full meltdowns, never did anything about it. Chernobyl, they entombed one of them. 700. This one they did nothing, they just covered it up. There's a renaissance in nuclear propaganda. 8 spent fuel pools blown to smithereens, pushed in the ocean. Everything that's happened to the ocean, posts, the typos in your feed, Edie. The ecological collapse, including the demic, is just a coincidence. You're going to chalk it up. See no nuclear energy, speak no. Here. Fukushima denial is the greatest mental illness in history. It's funny, this older woman, I said, "You got a piece of cardboard?" She says, "I'll find you one." She went back and brought this out of the garden center. She says, "Now, I don't want to see you standing on a street corner with that." What? You probably will. So, my grandma, the Tracy's, Moses Tracy's clan right here. They owned all this property right here. Clear down to where IRS, and yeah, that was the Marriott family. That Marriott. You know what they did here? All the way up and down here, there's a giant fruit stand right. This time of year, they had big signs, free produce, free fruit. They were organic farmers. Right here on this section, right where I stand, was cantaloupes and watermelons for 200 years. Tomatoes, when I was a kid, all of it, up and down here. My grandmother, Adelia Myra Tracy. Oh, she's walking. Moses Tracy's granddaughter. But you know who taught the Tracys to be such great row car? My dad, Digger, the famous potato farmer here, really famous. You know who taught the Tracys how to be organic farmers? Who? Because they were the very first ones here, right here. I mean, they're early. You know, I have bloodlines that go clear back to 1824 that came with the fur robbers, Ike Potter. But anyway, with that side, the Shoshone. She says the Shoshone right here, Kevin, where this farm. This has probably been raising produce right here on this said piece of real estate for at least, this is my grandma, for at least 18,000 years. So they build houses there. They take the houses down, and then they would pick them up and move them. That one on the corner out in West Weaver, that's a Tracy lives in those, did. They would pick them up and move them. They're great houses. Now they just tear them down. So you think about that. They tear down the houses to build the Grand Central. Okay, all right. Wasn't that long ago. And then they tear down the Grand Central, build the Fred Meyer's. Fred Meyer's here. Then that building was, why wouldn't you do something with the building? They tear it down in this shithole. It's been torn down for years. I mean, many years. I like it. And remember, I can tell a couple of stories. When I invented the Million Mass March, me and John Anthony, the first march I was driving right here on 12th Street. I was like, God, I need to make a sign because I wanted to hold up my Daniel Willard sign, whatever. Fukushima. I pulled over. That sign's famous, by the way. There's a piece of cardboard laying right there on the street, up there by the Smiths on the corner. I just pulled over, folded it up, put it in my bag. That's what I use. So, isn't that the rules on data? Use what you can find. So I thought, well, I'll just pop in Home Depot here. And there's a cowboy. He comes as natural as unleashing cattle onto the Great Salt Lake marsh landscape. He comes as natural as occupying a bird refuge. Orwell couldn't dream this up on 2 hits of acid and a whole bucket full of freaking hallucinogenic mushrooms. He could smoke the peace pipe for a month and never get this high on consumption. I mean, it's pathetic. If you haven't noticed American culture in 200 years, what they've done, if you haven't noticed, look around what American culture is involved into. Oh, it's a fucking shit show. It's a freak show. Look around. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. So, yeah. Even our grandparents would fucking come back and say, what the fuck? It's so fucking, the ecology, they just slide. It's all coincidence post-Fukushima. Dumping the tank water. So TikTok, yeah, we're going to dump when they've been dumping for 4,500 and something days. Anderson, Vandenberg, Sanjay Gupta at Fukushima, Japan. Nuclear meltdowns. They said it 1,000 times the first 6 days. Come home, never say it again till just the last 2 weeks. CNN never mentioned Fukushima 4,500 days. Now they're mentioning it. Gonna dump, could dump. They've been dumping the whole fucking time. And you're gonna chalk up the dead tide pools, all Kevin Blanch's historic work. I've proven it. You know, the salmon collapse. You're gonna chalk that all up to coincidence? Go ahead. Go ahead. Manifest Destiny on chemo. On Balco. The Great American Experiment. What a fucking failure. What a fucking failure. I used to tell my grandma when I was a kid right here. Because I was always a big Van Gogh guy since I was a little kid. Still am. Kevin Blanch. Literally. Vincent Van Gogh. Portrait. Oh, you dropped your dry cask container. This reminds me living in the south of France out in West Weaver, because they brought the trees with them. You know, the poplars that grew fast and just died. Like the desert bloom. This reminds me of the south. You've never been to the south of France. Well, I'm living the country and western version of Hamlet, I used to say all the time. You've never even seen Hamlet. 8 years ago today, I was at Hamlet's castle in Helsingør, Denmark. You know, even my library card, I went into the best voted European library in all of Europe. It's right there in Helsingør at Hamlet's Castle, and I got a library card. You're not supposed to give them to us Americans. She gave me one because she knew my story. She says, oh, well, I used to watch your YouTube videos. Guess how I signed it? Son of Cassandra and Hamlet, Kevin D Blanch. Oh, cursed spite that I was ever born to set this right. I have some rue for you. Nuclear fallout rue for you, and I have some for me. I watched you dump some into the Nevada test site into my father's ear, but you must wear yours with difference. Oh, cursed spy, literally, that I was ever born to set this right. But I was. So lessons from Fukushima. So next stop. Here we go. Next stop. How about that car? That's the old Blanch Blasters car. So next stop on the activism tour, Diablo Canyon, San Luis Obispo. So I'm gonna stand in front of there with that sign. So I took off my hat. Said, imagine that. Huh, me, I ain't working for you. Passed around the plate, religion, and ended it all. I didn't have a penny to pay. So I went to Home Depot. You gotta use whatever you got, got it. I spent $9.37. The paint was $9 of it. I had to buy a little brush. So I got out my Home Depot discounted paint and some garbage. And I made up my own fucking sign. You do a job being a sign twirler. That's your sign. Some got my eye. Oh, that one got my eye. I got that left. Oh, here comes the wind. So 7.3 earthquake. What you gonna do when it gets an 8? You'll be evacuated. Well, they'll tell you to shelter in place and try covering up that one like they did Fukushima. Unbelievable. See no nuclear energy evil. Speak no. The nuclear energy emperors. They have no fucking clothes. Go. Oh shit, I was hoping to come through a big red truck. Big red truck. Let's go get us some macho combo burrito del taco, 24 hours. So when I was a kid, these were the first 24-hour place that came in. Taco time right up there, the big tree. So this is a big time party town. So you'd come here after the bars closed and there'd be lines, everybody lined up there at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, everybody'd be out here having a burrito or whatever. I remember more than once I come around here early Saturday morning headed to work and there'd be somebody passed out right there. I remember my buddy that I used to work with, I come up here one time, it was early in the morning, and he's running his truck out of gas, he's drunk, passed out, and he's got his face right in a burrito right there. Didn't take him long, did it? Stand tuned.